Welcome back to Inside Indiana Overtime. Alex McCarthy, Jordan Gutsky. It is 2:18 in the morning, Sunday morning. A little under 3 hours ago, Indiana wrapped up a kind of a dramatic 36-22 victory over Florida International. It was close the whole way. Indiana was actually trailing for a good part of it, trailing at halftime for the second game in a row, and then played a really good third quarter and played well enough in the fourth quarter to pull out a victory. Obviously, if you saw it, probably the play of the game was a 96-yard interception return to Jamil Cook on a fourth and goal where Indiana's defense got some pressure on FIU's quarterback, and he kind of lobbed one up, and Indiana took advantage and returned it, and that was kind of the thing that sealed it. But there was a lot that went on, obviously, before that to kind of set that up. Indiana's defense was all over the place. It was very hit or miss. I wrote about it a little bit for the site where Kevin Wilson said before, or was talking to his coaches before the game, and he said, we're going to have young players screw up, especially in the defensive backfield and the secondary, but they need to because they're going to learn, they're going to grow through it. We're going to keep them on the field, they're going to figure it out, and that's exactly what happened. We saw Andre Brown, as a true freshman, get burned a couple times, 75-yard touchdown that was pretty ugly, and then something like a 28-yard touchdown, something like that. But then he came back and he played fine, and he played well. Rashard Fant had a couple pretty costly penalties, but a couple really, really nice pass breakups. So just kind of inconsistency, but getting the job done when it mattered was kind of a theme. And then also on the offensive side of the ball as well.
Yeah, especially in the first half, they would move the ball into the FIU territory, even into the red zone, and then they just decided that they couldn't move the ball anymore. Wilson said he took some responsibility for it on third down with too conservative play calling. And then Sutfield said that the players got to play, they should make it happen, but that they did sputter a bit when they got across halfway. I mean, Oaks came through. He made some field goals, kept them in the game. In the second half, they found their rhythm. Howard was going hard the whole game. He played well against them last year. He played well again this year. And then Redding obviously provided that nice 1-2 punch in there. And then, I mean, when you get that 96-yard interception return, that's definitely going to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that wasn't the only turnover that Indiana was able to capitalize on. They were really fortunate, especially on the first fumble where there's kind of a missed, there's kind of a zone read play where the ball just kind of dropped out of, off a hip, just kind of tumbled out of Alex Magoo's hands, the FIU quarterback, and Nick Mangieri jumped on it. It was deep in FIU territory. IU scored pretty easily a few plays later, and then basically the same thing happened later, where Mangieri again got to Magoo and on his blind side knocked the ball out. Marcus Oliver jumped on it, and then Indiana scored a couple plays later. So the defense actually made it pretty easy for the offense at times, where you mentioned that sometimes the offense would just kind of get discombobulated when it was in the scoring zone. But when your defense puts you right up to the goal line, almost in the red zone, it's a little bit easier to get your drive started and to do that. So a weird couple first games for Indiana, certainly. Maybe a little bit more stressful than they would have thought on paper. But 2 wins is 2 wins. It's the first time in 3 years that Indiana started 2-0 to start the season. Obviously a third of the way to bowl eligibility. And I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but it just seems like these are kind of valuable wins where Indiana's not just coasting for the fourth quarter like it is against some lower level opponents in the past where they've kind of just been able to coast, where they've had to play hard for all 4 quarters and they've had to earn these victories. It seems like.
I don't think they've been pretty by any means, but it's showing them that they can actually get it done when they're under pressure. I mean, last year we look at the Ohio State game where they had Ohio State into the fourth quarter and then they just kind of stopped. Now that was with Xander quarterback. We got Sutfield back, but I think this will help in games further down. It means that if they're down 7 in the fourth quarter, that doesn't mean that they're going to lose. It doesn't mean that you can write them off. It means that Sutfield and Ricky Jones and Jordan Howard, Divine Redding, they all have a shot to make some big plays happen. We saw Howard make a few big runs. He got really close to breaking out some Tevin Coleman-esque runs. Just got caught up by the shoelaces once or twice, but
yeah, he just doesn't have that blast gear that Tevin Coleman has. But still, I mean, he 145 yards in the first game, 159 yards tonight. He's definitely the guy back there. He's definitely a reliable guy. I mean, he carried the ball 27 times tonight, and it never seemed close to fumbling or looking fatigued or anything like that. So We'll see if these experiences kind of come in handy as Indiana gets into the more difficult half of its non-conference schedule. Western Kentucky comes here next week. They're 2-0 as well. Obviously a very high-powered offense that you probably know about with at least their passing game. Their running back is injured, but that will certainly be a test for Indiana's secondary, for Indiana's defense as a whole.
Right.
And we'll be here for it. That's a week from, well, I guess yesterday now. But we'll have coverage leading up to it all week as usual. So thanks for watching. We're gonna get out of here and go to bed. But for Jordan Gusky, I'm Alex McCarthy. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.